Mom.
What?
I don't want to get.
Okay. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be kind of talking about POTS syndrome.
Oh, good.
So POTS is an umbrella term under dysautonomia, which I do get into a little bit about POTS on my, what is dysautonomia and all that kind of stuff in my other previous video that came out. I will attach that video to this. So yeah, we're just gonna jump right into this video.
I found a love for me. Well, darling, just dive right in and follow my lead. Well, I found a girl, beautiful and sweet.
So POTS is abbreviated for postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. So POTS is
Help, get where you want to go. Come on.
So POTS is one of the most common types of dysautonomia. I was actually in, they had a lighting in Colorado a couple weeks ago in Denver, and I asked, like, what form of dysautonomia do you have? And everyone just told me the normal kind, and I feel like people are so, like, don't understand or are not...
I just want this.
Okay, one second. Or are not told which type they have, which is probably POTS. And it's very frustrating. Like, you just don't have dysautonomia. You have a certain type of dysautonomia, which is POTS in my case, and in a lot of people's cases, because it is more common than most types on there. So I'm going to read the definition of POTS through the Mayo Clinic. So the definition they have there is, POTS is a condition that affects the autonomic nervous system. POTS is a form of orthostatic intolerance, the development of symptoms that comes when standing from a sitting laying position. The primary symptom of orthostatic intolerance is lightheadedness, fainting, increased heart rate, and low blood pressure. So that's very medical for people that don't understand it very much. So pretty much when you stand up, your blood pressure plummets and your heart rate is just everywhere. You are supposed to have a heart rate increase of, for an adult, 30 beats, and for a child, it would be considered 40 beats. So that is the criteria for POTS. So when I stand up, and I'll attach a video, when I stand up, my heart rate jumps. I think in this video, it only jumped like maybe 40. I don't remember exactly, but it does jump. Sometimes it jumps more than others. If I'm standing for a long period of time, my heart rate will just keep climbing. So if I start at 80 and I stand up and it goes to like 115, 120, my heart rate will keep going up significantly. So I will go to like 150 and then 180, and then if I do not start to sit down at some point, it will keep climbing. That's the problem I have, especially walking around. If I'm at stores, I really struggle with that. Walking around the mall, I can't do that as very often because it just keeps climbing, and it's very uncomfortable. Patients see different specialists. It just kind of depends on what you have around your area and who actually knows what POTS is, because POTS is not very much known by a lot of doctors. So some specialists you can see are cardiology or neurology. I see a cardiologist personally because my biggest issue is probably my heart rate over anything else, and my cardiologist is definitely more educated than most doctors I've actually seen. So that's why I see a cardiologist, not a neurologist. I did see one neurologist to get a consult done just to see if that's something I need to do, and it didn't go very well. She was not at all, she just didn't know what she was talking about. So, and you do see some other specialists due to, you do sometimes see other specialists due to like other underlying issues. I see a lot of different specialists. I see rheumatology, I see allergist, that's just the tip of the iceberg of who I see. I have lots of doctors. I see lots of doctors that help me with the different underlying conditions I do have.
Mom,
What?
get this.
Okay. Can I hold it? Thank you.
Yes. Is the elegance? Is the arrogance? Is arrogance? Hoggle is it was a dummy elements. Is elegance? Is it elegance? Is it elegance?
Some meds that can help, it doesn't help everybody, but you can take beta blockers, steroids, blood pressure support medicines, so things like Midodrine, Florinef, things like that. IV fluids do help a lot too. Some self-help you can do is hydrate, so lots of water intake. You're supposed to be drinking a butt ton of water, but you should be adding electrolytes also in that. So a lot of people say don't drink Gatorade, but Gatorade helps a lot. So does vitamin water. Some other ones, I'll tag them in the things, you know what types to help. So, and you should increase your salt intake, so taking salt sticks, eating salt, adding extra salt to your foods, things like that, which a lot of doctors tell you, stop with the salt intake. But I have to, doctor, because I have all these extra issues. Some devices that help are compression stockings, blood pressure and heart rate monitors. Some people have debilitating POTS, so they use canes, parking passes, and I do get into more info on that on my other video. So I'm gonna kind of go into kind of how I was diagnosed. So if you've gone to school with me since elementary school, when I was like kindergarten, first grade, things like that, you probably remember me passing out in the middle class. I think it was standing in line or something. That's where things kind of started. I've always passed out, and they never understood why. When I was younger, I passed out. I was sitting, so I stood up from, so I was a kid, and I woke up and I went, you know, when you stand up and go pee in the morning. So I stood up off the toilet and passed out. And all I remember is my dad freaking out. I see. My dad freaking out, call an ambulance. They called an ambulance, and the dude said, well, the EMT had told me, you were pushing too hard. That's why you passed out, which is not accurate. That is not why I passed out. But that's what they think. Stop, baby, stop. At that point, that's when I would pass out randomly. They thought it was just, you know, some people just pass out, you know, you just black out sometimes when you stand up too fast or something. And that's what they thought was happening with me. Well, fast forward a couple years. I didn't pass out for a couple years after that. I didn't have crazy symptoms when I was younger. Just the passing out, and I knew that the way I felt was different than the way most people feel. So I kind of just assumed that I'm just losing my mind and that everybody feels like this. Well, I started drinking energy drinks when I hit, I believe it was middle school. I thought it was a cool thing, so I started drinking energy drinks. And that just made everything worse. That's when I started not only just passing out, but okay, shh. And then it's mommy's turn still. That's when I started to get rapid heart rates. I get chest pain so badly. Fatigue. I just I feel like I couldn't make it. I feel like I couldn't make it in school. So I missed a lot of school at that time when I missed a lot of school in general, but at that specific time, that's when I was losing, like, I was not at school. I was absent constantly. And my mom and my dad said, like, this isn't normal, so they took me to see my primary, and my primary was like, we have no idea what's wrong with you. They did an EKG, all this other stuff. They told me they're gonna send me to cardiology, neurology, and all this other stuff. Thank God they sent me to a cardiologist, or else I would never have gotten diagnosed. So in my 8th grade year, I'd gone to see a cardiologist, and they had told me that, well, they did a test first. So the test would be, you lay down for 10 minutes, they take your heart rate and your blood pressure. You sit up, they take your heart rate, they take your blood pressure. You stand up for 10 minutes, they take your heart rate, they take your blood pressure. And if your heart rate increases by 40 beats, again, as a child, it's 40 beats, then you are diagnosed with postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. And he was not... This cardiologist specifically for children was not educated in what POTS was, and honestly, since I was so young, I couldn't really, my mom didn't know what POTS was, I didn't know what POTS was, so when he told us, like, oh, your heart rate just increases by a lot and your blood pressure drops, he told me increase salt and water intake, and you should be fine. Don't make any more, you know, appointments, because that's it. That's all I can do for you.
Okay, Mommy. Okay,
And
Mommy. Okay, Mommy.
I was
Okay,
okay, baby. Okay, 1 second.
okay, Mommy.
Ouch. Okay, can you move real quick? And by this time, we got a diagnosis. When he explains it, it doesn't sound bad at all. It sounds like you got this little thing and it'll go away on its own, because that's what you're told, that it will go away by the time in a couple years, or, you know, a lot of people think that their POTS is going to go away, and a lot of people, it doesn't go away. I'm 21, well, I'm almost 21 years old, and my POTS is still very much here, and I've been dealing with this my whole life. When he didn't take me seriously enough to make a follow-up appointment or do anything like that, that is frustrating, but that's another story. So after this, I just did what he told me. It did get worse when I got sick, or when the weather changes. I don't know if anyone on here is a dysautonomia patient, the October slide, you definitely start feeling worse. Summer, heat kills you. I cannot do heat at all. We went to Florida, and I just, like, was struggling. I know normal people would even struggle with that heat, but, like, if you have POTS, you just cannot. Like, I had to sit down constantly. My sister had to buy me a fan that, like, sprays water on you to cool you off. And my POTS got 100 times worse after I had this one. I got pregnant, and I just everything got worse. I started passing out a lot after she was born. I mean, I was passing out like 3 or 4 times a week. It was getting excessive. Now that I'm pregnant again, I don't pass out as often. So yeah, that's my diagnosis story. That's how and that's what POTS is. So if you guys like this video, give it a big thumbs up. I will also put Dysautonomia's page in in the description, so you guys can go check that out also if you want to learn more about different, you know, illnesses. So if you guys like this video, make sure you guys give it a big thumbs up, turn on your post notifications, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.
Found a love for